A new kind of microtransaction hit RuneScape today, and I'm gonna have a heated debate with myself about that later, but first we gotta check out the cool new features RuneScape added this week. Firstly, construction has the ability to move rooms in RuneScape now. You can now select to move a room, and it will move all the objects inside the room as well. Here's a preview of it in action. All you have to do is to click the doorway, and then select Move This Room on option 2, which will give you a ghost version of your room so you can preview where you want to place it, and you'll see all the items are also in the room as you place them out. I don't know if this is a new feature as well, but I think you can now add things to outside walls, because it seems like they've done that right here. And I don't think that was possible previously, though I could have just missed it as well. On top of this, there are now new skins for your floors. If you go inside of a room and then you click Edit Current Room on your little minigame interface thing, you'll get up a panel for new floor tiles. You can choose between rock tiles, different kinds of wooden tiles, dirt and straw tiles. There's even a kitchen tile set you can use in your kitchen now, or I guess anywhere else in your house if you want to. Boss trophies that you can place in your house now have loot beams. At least all of them should. Some of them did before, but all of them should have loot beams now. Cape stands inside houses now also have some additional functionalities. If you place a cape on it with, for example, teleports, you can now interact with it to teleport with the cape on the stand. I also believe that admiring it will activate a skill cape emote, so do check that out. It's now possible to add noted potions into cauldrons inside your house. You can once again make cups of tea inside your house to boost your construction level. And there was a bug where some furniture was being deleted if you placed it near doorways. That's been fixed as well now. They've also teased new furniture through the marketplace for rune coins next week, but we haven't gotten any previews what they look like yet. They mentioned something called an Anniversary Architect Bundle. This will include an Anniversary Armor Stand and wall-mounted swords and shields, alongside some other decorations. They're also looking to add a party pack for your house, containing things like balloons and confetti cannons. So that should be coming out at the start of August. Now, while the moving rooms feature for construction houses is very cool, there's been... my neighbor has been having a field day with this feature. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Their house is chaos at the moment. I also want to throw in that the Golden Gnome Award nominations are up, and if you want to, you can, send in a nomination for me, because I've never been nominated for any of the categories in anything, so it would be cool to just be nominated, honestly. Yeah, if you feel like you like my videos enough to put my name out, then that would be really cool. Otherwise, I just figured I'd mention it, to be honest. It's possible to nominate people for the Golden Gnome Awards up until next Monday, so do get your votes in on who you would like to see on the list for potential Golden Gnome winners this year. I'll drop a link to the nomination website as well in the description below if you want to check that out. On the past Friday, for 2 hours, it was possible to purchase a RuneScape Monopoly board game, though the pre-orders pretty much instantly sold out, so I figured I'd mention it, but I'm not gonna show it off because what's the point? Basically, nobody got one. If you got one, congratulations, you are one of the few people with a Monopoly board game of RuneScape. They have promptly deleted all traces of it on the store, so I don't believe there's gonna be any more copies of it. Sucks for the people who didn't get one, I guess. Second big announcement today is the Grand Exchange rework has been added to RuneScape. With this update, the Grand Exchange interface has had some small adjustments. You'll notice there are now 2 numbers below each item icon, the top one being the market value that updates slowly, and the one on the bottom is a rapidly changing price. It gives you the average of the 10 most recent trades. Alongside this, the buy limit text has had some updates. You can now see how much of your buy limit you've used up for every 4 hours, and also a timer of when your buy limit will reset. When you try to purchase an item, it will now default to 1 instead of 0, so that's really nice. You can now edit offers in real time without removing your offer by simply clicking on this number on your offer, setting a new price, and then just sending it, and it will instantly update. You don't have to remove the item and place it back in again. It just stays in the slot. There's a lot of great quality of life changes to the Grand Exchange update today. Even recent searches are down here at the bottom, so you can just click on things that you've recently been interacting with. And yeah, they've moved this buy button up to the price as well, so it's not all the way down here anymore. And the same goes for this arrow here that takes you back to all of your offers. On top of this, the market price value, the top number, is going to be updating a lot more quickly now because it has the potential of increasing and decreasing larger every time it updates. I believe it was 5% before. I think they've increased it up to 20% now. So on top of this, the RuneScape Wiki is now tracking all trades done on the Grand Exchange. So if you head on over to RuneScape Wiki, you'll be able to find a live price graph looking something like this of every single tradable item on the Grand Exchange. And you can use this to easily see what items are buying and selling for, how long it's been since the previous sale, and you can even sort it by 6 hours, past day, past week, past month, half a year, and year. This should surely help you finding the accurate prices for various items, though I would be a little bit careful still using this on low daily volume items. Items that aren't traded very often could easily be pushed up and down to unrealistic prices. You'll be able to see if an item has been pushed up to an unrealistic price though on this graph. So if you're unsure about an item, I would very highly recommend checking out the RuneScape Wiki's graph to see if an item has been manipulated up or down most recently, so that you don't fall victim to a scam of some sort. I've been testing out the Grand Exchange update a little bit today, and I'm really happy with it. It's been far easier to find the accurate prices of items, especially for a lot of bossing items currently, because a lot of people are hunting for boss trophies for their house, so the unique drops from bosses are understandably going down in price at the moment as people are looking for those boss trophies. So this Grand Exchange update has been great in finding out what the actual price of these items is. Alongside this, they've also made it easier to find items when searching for them in the Grand Exchange. For example, if you search up obsidian now, you will get all the obsidian items because they've added, I guess, tags to various items. So you don't have to type in talks, for example, to get the obsidian items. You can just type obsidian to get all of them up. It will even sort it by results for obsidian and results for obsidian and Cesar equipment. You can even type in fortunate for fortunate component items, and this being a lot of the clue scroll items. Basically, a lot of popular terms can now be used to find items on the Grand Exchange, and some examples include a soil for archaeology soil types, D-Bane for demon bane, P-Hat for party hats, D-Hide for dragon hide, Obby for obsidian, ECB for the eldritch crossbow. And you got MW for masterwork. For a lot of the greater ability upgrades as well, you can just type G and then the ability name. For example, G chain will get you greater chain, and so on. I do have one criticism of the Grand Exchange update. I would really like to see a wiki button that takes you directly to the price graph. Currently, I have not found a way to do that in the interface here, but having a button like right here somewhere that just says like graph or something like that, which would then take you into, for example, this is a really bad example because nobody's trading this item, but that takes you into the item's graph history, instantly. Just a button that takes you to this website would be great, because as it stands, I have to search up every single thing twice, once in the Grand Exchange and then once on the website just to get this thing up and see what the prices are. So yeah, please add a button in game so that I can instantly get taken to that price graph. If you'd like a deeper dive also into the look of the Grand Exchange update, I have a separate video going through all of the changes in greater detail, so do check that out if you're interested. They've also briefly mentioned the Hardcore Ironman leaderboard update. So the Hardcore Ironman leaderboard for RuneScape 3 has been bugged for a while, and they are working to fix these bugs to make the high score work properly again without a lot of corrupted data being displayed there. So they haven't actually done this yet, but they are announcing that they will be slowly over the next few weeks fixing this up so that it works again. Okay, now the juicy update of today is the new kind of microtransaction that RuneScape 3 has introduced. It's nothing super revolutionary or anything, but it's essentially boiling down to achievement-based microtransactions. And they've done this by featuring I guess you could say it's the Infernal Cape of RuneScape 3. Over in RuneScape land, we call this the kal-zuk cape, and it's this one in the middle here that you see. You get this cape by defeating Zuk in hard mode in the Elder God Wars dungeon. Alongside defeating him though, you have to complete all of the waves up to him, and the 3 challenges has to be completed flawlessly as well. So there are quite a few steps to getting this cape, and if you have this original cape right here, you will have the option to purchase these 2 other capes in the marketplace now. But if you haven't gotten the original cape, you can't buy the other 2 capes. it will just not let you spend money on those other cosmetics. They have posted its own separate blog for this, so we're gonna have a look and see what the main details are. They start off by saying that this new type of microtransaction was something they surveyed players about a little while back, and it stood out to them as something that they should be looking into more because there was some interest in it. So they had a look around for some of the fan favorite items that they could potentially do this with, and they landed on the igneous kal-zuk cape. But they said that they didn't just want to release new skins, they wanted to update the old OG item as well. So what they've done is they've improved the particle effects on the old cape. They've adjusted the shoulder section to be slimmer so that it kind of waves out towards the bottom and grows in size down there, rather than being just a square on your back, I guess. They've also made it fit better on females. It was really far off the back of females before. It now fits their shoulders a lot better too. They have fixed the particle effects. It was a little bit wonky before because there was like an off-center particle emitter that looked really strange. They've also fit it better to align with your shoulders, so it kind of curves around them here. They're essentially saying here that they want to improve the original item while also releasing these new updated skins for it that you can purchase if you want to. And yeah, they stress that all of these items are only purchasable by people who have the original cape unlocked already. But they didn't stop with just the kal-zuk cape. You can also get variants of the normal mode Zuk capes as well, because defeating all the Zuk waves as well as his 3 challenges in normal mode will get you a style specific cape in melee, magic, range, or necromancy. And then defeating Zuk and all of his challenges in hard mode will get you the combined cape that you see in the middle here, which is the yellow and orange one, effectively letting you have all the powers from all these individual capes into one cape. And for the normal mode capes, you have to have completed normal mode Zuk and gotten the cape to purchase those capes. And as a little cherry on top, they've included a old school version of this cape, the Infernal Cape skin, as you can see. This one is also for defeating hard mode Zuk though, so you will have to do that if you want the Infernal Cape. It gives off the same particles, but it has that iconic, animated, slow magma going down the back. And alongside this, there's other Tsar-themed cosmetics that they've released, like a lava trail, some new weapon overrides as well for like necromancy. Also comes with a magma spear, and the magma crossbow. And these capes have been a hot topic, I apologize for that one, this past week, and for various different reasons too, I have to add. Essentially, I have to disconnect this a little bit because I want to give feedback in multiple places. So basically, I think that these new cape skins look amazing. Firstly, I think it's really cool they're adding old school cosmetic versions of things into RuneScape. I've never been a huge fan of the original cape either. I always wish it was more animated, like having all of the magma flowing down, for example, on the back here. So I'm a huge fan of this new cape. But I will say the prices are kind of on the high side, because each of these in RuneCoin value cost $15 US. Now, you can buy them through bonds, that's not a problem, but they still cost $15 each. And at some point, you just gotta realize this isn't microtransactions, it's paid cosmetics. There's nothing micro about these transactions anymore. It's not $2, $3, 15 bucks for one item is essentially what you're getting here. The old school Inferno skin is $15. The updated kal-zuk cape is $15. And then there's a 4 cape bundle with these other colored versions for $15 as well. So to get all of this, you're paying $45. Now, I don't know if this is because they're prestige skins, but I frankly think it would make more sense if the old school Infernal cape and the updated kal-zuk cape were bundled into one thing as well for $15, because they effectively have the same requirement. Whereas the other 4 cape bundle, I suppose, is fine at 15, right? But those 2 individual ones being 15 each is kind of ridiculous. What it is really cool to see though is that Jagex are actually able to make cosmetics that people want to purchase, because that's not always been the case, but a lot of people seem to want these capes. And for good reason, I think they look really cool. But that has brought up another topic, which is an understandable fear that it sort of incentivizes Jagex to make worse looking cosmetics and then sell better looking versions on the marketplace. Though Jagex moderators have gone out of their way to reassure people that this isn't the case. They're not going to be making worse cosmetics and then selling upgrades. And that is exactly why they updated the original cape alongside releasing these skins, because they want the original one to look good despite getting new skins as well. It's also fair to assume then in that case that if they do release new achievement skins for other items, they would update the old item alongside the skins being released. I also thought we could have a look at what the old cape looked like versus the new cape, see all the minor changes they've made to it. So I grabbed some footage of the old kal-zuk cape before the update went live, and then I'll be showing the new cape as well next to it so you can see a sort of comparison of what the old one looked like. And at a glance, you'll just notice that it was a lot more boxy before. It doesn't have as much curvage, and everyone loves curvage, you know? I would also say the particles look a lot better now, and frankly it looks like it fits so much better on females than it did before. It doesn't have a massive gap on the back anymore, which is so good. Sits better on the shoulders too. Same goes for the new skin of the kal-zuk cape. There's a little bit of a gap still, as you can see, but it's not nearly as bad as it was before. Here's the male version of the updated kal-zuk cape. I'd say my favorite part of it is the animated lava flowing in it. There's a part of me that thinks it would be really cool if all the rocks were also animated though, and they were like slowly going down, much like the infernal cape on old school. I do like this cape far more than the original Zuk cape though. I think this is what it should have looked like on release, to be honest. It looks more like the infernal cape in my opinion. Has the same particles as the original cape as well. And while I don't have the old school infernal Zuk cape purchased, it does have the same particles as well on it, and the same silhouette and everything. It's just got the flowing lava going down the back. Also think that this purple one looks absolutely gorgeous. Huge fan of this one. Frankly, I just think they did a fantastic job with this cape design in general. Here we got some close-ups as well. Thank you to Japanese Squirrel for posting those, as well as look at the purple one. Oh my god, look how beautiful it looks. Oh my god, it looks so beautiful. Now, I've dived into the community, both on Reddit and on X, to figure out what people think of this, and as you might expect, there are a lot of opinions about this because it is a best-in-slot item for all combat styles. Also want to preface this by saying I'm not judging anyone's opinion. It's completely valid to have your own opinion on this, and I'm just showcasing some of the different feedback that the community have posted. Here we've got, as cool as these look, I'm bummed that old school RuneScape, when you beat the difficult content, you get a cool cosmetic, for example, Blood Torva, and in RuneScape 3, when you beat the difficult content, you earn the ability to buy a cool cosmetic. And while I see where it's coming from, I would say that there is plenty of things you can do in RuneScape where you do hard challenges and get cosmetics for it. For example, combat achievement auras are something that very few people have because a lot of the higher level combat achievements are very difficult to do. Blood Torva, for example, and Radiant Oathplate is similar to those situations where you would get the aura, right, for completing really difficult challenges. Even so, you could almost say that the kal-zuk cape is one of those really high-level prestige items because a lot of people just do normal mode Zuk and have the individual capes. Now, I'm not someone who talks to or plays with a lot of PVMers, so I'm one of the few people I actually know that has the kal-zuk cape. I think I might have 3 or 4 friends that have the kal-zuk cape, and everyone else has the individual combat style Zuk capes from normal mode. So really, in that sense, the people with the hard mode Zuk cape are in the minority, and it is sort of a Blood Torva kind of situation in that case. Additionally, in terms of rare cosmetics you can unlock, there are cosmetic outfits that you can get for doing high enraged Zamorak, for example. There are titles for completing all boss logs. High-level combat achievements even have badges next to your name in-game to show that you're like a top-tier PVM player. So there are plenty of cosmetics that you can unlock. Maybe there could be more. That is an argument you could make. Maybe there should be more high-level achievement cosmetics in the game. But additionally, this isn't taking away from that fact. It's giving you new skins for those cosmetics. In that sense, it would be like selling recolors of Blood Torva, right? You love Blood Torva, now you can get Soul Torva, you know? I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas at the wall here. Now, they would never sell Soul Torva in old school, but I'm just saying that's sort of the idea here. They're not reducing anyone's achievement by releasing reskins of achievement items. It just lets you customize your character more with different looking things while keeping it generally the same so that you know it's that item, right? Here's another opinion saying the middle cape doesn't look great. That's the one you get in game. The other 2 are paid cosmetic versions. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but when the original Zuk cape released on RuneScape, I felt like a lot of people liked it, and I didn't like it. And I felt like in the minority when it released because I thought everyone liked it because I felt like everyone was praising the design. It got tons and tons of likes on posts on social media. Everyone was like, oh yeah, this cape is amazing. And I'm like, is it though? Is it really? So I've personally never been a fan of the original one, and now people see that how good it could have been, with this reskin version, which I mean, not everyone is gonna like either. Some people might actually like the original one, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different looking version. So objectively, you can't really say one looked better than the other. It's very much a personal preference thing. I also don't necessarily think that this player is in the minority for thinking X is bad. It feels like there is a divide in if this is okay or not. I'm not entirely sure where that divide is, but I don't think there's a minority of people necessarily that dislike the idea of this. There might also not be a majority, like it could be like 30 to 70 or 40, 60, but I'm not entirely sure. Figured I'd read some of the comments here though. It's pretty surprising how many people are defending this. Heavily incentivizes making bad looking cosmetics to sell the fix later. Don't like people justifying this. RuneScape 3 community is so whipped. Hey ma'am, I don't like whips, but I do like abyssal whips. I disagree that this is bad. Understand the concerns though, but what exactly kind of revenue should RuneScape go for? Selling skins seems pretty fair. The Zuk cape is still a cool achievement, and I mean you still need the original cape for this. They feel it isn't good because it's one of the few, if not only, achievement items in the game. They should release more achievement items. Am I the only one who really likes the standard Zuk cape? Not many of you. There was a lot at release though, I swear, I'm not crazy. I don't like paid cosmetics, however, if they are going to sell cosmetics, requiring players to actually own their original item first is better. Would be even better if there was something like a dye or ornament kit that you could earn in-game. And I have seen a couple comments about that too. They say that if there should be a reskin of an achievement item, then it should come from in-game, like Blood Torva, for example, for Torva. And while I think that is a really cool idea, and there's no reason why they couldn't do that for various different items, I don't think Zuk was ever going to get that. I don't think these additional capes were ever going to exist outside of the marketplace, because Zuk is a relatively old boss now. I believe it's like 5 years or something like that since it released. There was never a universe where they were going to add new rewards to this boss for doing combat achievements or completing the collection log. So the only timeline where these new capes existed was if those were the original capes that released, or in this timeline where we're getting them as paid cosmetics. And you could also argue that if Treasure Hunter was still around, then these might be associated with gambling for keys. So frankly, I don't hate the idea that they're doing this, but I do see the concerns, and I do share those concerns as well, that it is potentially a slippery slope that could lead to worse situations in the future, but that's also something where you're creating a bad situation that could potentially happen, but hasn't happened yet. Like you're fearing for something that isn't necessarily ever going to happen. But even through these comments here, it's very 50-50 of people being like, I think this should be earned in game versus I think this is fine, just let them sell things. I mean, they need to make back money. They have taken a financial hit with removing Treasure Hunter, so them looking for additional ways to get some of that money back again seems justified. If you were to purchase these capes in-game for bonds, they would cost about 350 mil each. If you convert that to old school, you'd be looking at 35 mil for a cape skin of your Infernal cape, right? Paying 35 mil, now you can change the cosmetic version of your Infernal cape to look slightly different. That's essentially what it boils down to. This person likes the original Zuk cape the most, and they agreed that the skins should only be available to those who have the actual cape. Which, I mean, they are. You can't just walk in and buy these capes. You need to have the original Zuk cape, completed the achievement for it, to purchase these things. You can't even buy them without the achievement. I think how good these skins look also ties into the factor of people being upset. Like, they're upset that the skins are good and that they might actually want to buy them. Because historically, a lot of the microtransaction outfits have looked kind of, I don't know, dorky sometimes. I'm mainly thinking of the sandwich lady one in more recent times. They have a very niche audience though, but I think these ones have very broad appeal because they are very RuneScapey skins. And people might be mad that they want the skins. I think there's a lot of complicated psychology behind this one, basically. And see, there are a lot of people who like the original cape too. I don't think you're wrong about this paid cosmetic, but in my opinion, the original cape looks better to me than both the paid versions. So there are fans of the original cape design, and I definitely don't think they should have just changed the old cape into the new skin, right? That would have pissed off all the people who like the original cape. Guess we wanted pay to win to be out, so Jagex adding this stuff seems okay. Another take saying cosmetics and items the community cares about should always be completely separate. To me, this goes against the integrity ideology, afraid of the precedent it may set. There's a lot of untapped potential in casual default style clothing. Now, I personally have outfits that I really like in the game, and I don't generally buy a lot of outfits unless I really like something. So to me, the whole casual outfit sets will never appeal to me, to be honest. And I think it's good that they are appealing to different people, not just the casual default outfit wearers. Some people want the cooler looking cosmetics, which these definitely fall into the group of. I don't get all the anger involved in this. The community is simple-minded. Well, that's a bit mean. Considering you have to have the cape to get the cosmetic, this is separate since you have to have the cape to get the cosmetic for it. Okay, some people in this comment section were just kind of rude, so I'm just gonna skim over those, but this is way better than pay to win. Gonna have to agree with your comment. Dumb take, you're telling Jagex that the cosmetics people care about and would persuade people to buy are off limits and only cosmetics nobody cares about should be monetized. Do you want RuneScape to fail in the end? We have a cosmetic toggle, the original Zuk cape got upgraded cosmetically. This doesn't create any FOMO effect, which is actually something I didn't bring up earlier, but these capes are not on the rotating store in the marketplace. A lot of outfits will enter and leave the marketplace on like a multiple month basis, so they're not always available, but they do return eventually. These capes are always going to be available, so whenever you were to complete these challenges in game, you have access to the cape skins in the marketplace and you could get them if you want to. So I think that is a very good decision too. It doesn't leave you with any FOMO that you need to buy these when they're there. They will just always be there for you to pick up if you feel like you want to. Got some more comments. Honestly, I was really pissed off about these capes at the first, but after thinking about it, I don't love it, but it's fine. I think a big reason for that is it's the first marketplace item I actually want to buy, and that's what I was saying. A lot of people are realizing that Jagex can actually make some pretty cool cosmetics that they might actually want to purchase, and they might not necessarily like the idea of wanting to purchase something. So that's sort of a hurdle as well that Jagex has to come across with the player base, of making them more accepting of wanting to purchase items that might look interesting to them. People need to understand that this beats the alternative, take a few steps back and realize how the situation could have been different with Treasure Hunter. I think that as long as you don't have to gamble for it and it doesn't give you any advantage, cosmetics can be whatever they choose to be. I'm fine with this if it means we can continue to play the game we love without pay to win being so heavily involved. Completely fine with it. In this thread specifically, there are a lot of people who are okay with this. They might not necessarily all like it, but they are okay with the direction that it's going. I am personally very happy that you need to have the Zuk capes unlocked in-game before you can get these. I think it would be really bad if they just let you buy Zuk capes for cash. That would feel terrible, to be honest. I found a comment that justifies what I thought actually happened. We all loved the Zuk capes on release and thought they were the coolest thing ever. See, I wasn't crazy. I thought people really liked them on release, and I felt like the minority on release that didn't like it. So there you go. I don't really like the idea now that the Zuk capes are bad looking items and never were rewarding to achieve in the first place. I have some additional concerns. And it's not necessarily to do with the monetization strategy here, but it's future-proofing of best-in-slot capes. So now that they've made this really cool-looking Infernal cape, how do you top the design? Because, see, they could have created a new Zuk fight, or a new kind of wave-based fight that makes the old Zuk cape stronger, you know? And that could have been the skin they released now, but now they released a really cool skin. They have to make a better cape at some point that looks even better than the one they've now made. I guess it's sort of a design creep kind of thing. That could potentially be a challenge that they would have to face, or they just completely go away from the whole lava design for the best in slot cape and do something completely different. You know, that's also a possibility. On the flip side of this whole thing, it does encourage Jagex to graphically update items because it means they can sell skins alongside those upgrades. So they could potentially see that as a win-win situation, which means that we get more graphical updates. Now over in Reddit land, we can see that the marketplace update for the Sekhar got about an 81% upvote, so there's about 20% of people who didn't like this. So maybe it is true that the minority are the people who don't like it. My estimations of 30 to 40% could have been off a bit. Updated model looks great, and I don't hate the idea of the overrides. Not a huge cosmetic enjoyer, but may just buy this one. I was thinking the same thing. Might be the first cosmetic I buy, although I would have to turn on to view microtransactions. You don't actually have to do that. The cosmetic toggle in-game will still present your cosmetics to you. It just turns everyone else's off. So you can still have an outfit on from the wardrobe and you can still see it. So if you search for cosmetics in the gameplay settings, you'll get up all three of the options. So it specifies hide other players' worn customizations, but it doesn't hide your own. So you see, even with this customization of worn outfits off, still has the same outfit on. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that if you just want to wear something yourself while keeping everyone else's cosmetics off. Holy, a cape that looks good enough to compete with Master Completionist trim. Because people need to get the hard mode cape first, this will definitely motivate people to do hard mode Zuk. Could also potentially improve people's bossing performance as well. This model of monetization could work, but RuneScape lacks achievement flex items like Old School has. The main ones are the different max and completionist cape varieties, for example. Combat achievement necklace is one, and the master and grandmaster auras. But frankly, I think that even less people have the combat achievement cosmetics. For example, I think it's in the 1,000 mark for the master combat achievement. Grandmaster, I don't think a whole lot of people have that because I never see any of those things around anywhere. I'd say there's more old school grandmasters than there are RuneScape 3 grandmasters. Designs look great and are nice to see, but there are concerns that must be raised. Are Jagex going to restrict selling microtransaction variants after X amount of time? The answer to that one is no, those are always going to be in the marketplace. Will the microtransaction versions make use of any graphical features that the base rewards don't? It doesn't seem like it, because both have been given animation now. There was very subtle movement in the previous Zuk cape, but they've actually added that to both capes now. Both of them also have the exact same particle effects. They have the same glow effect, so they are keeping them very similar. I guess intentionally, right? And what are the target thresholds for earned rewards? I think it could be anything, really. Skill capes could be a potential avenue, though I don't really know what they would really do with updated skill capes, right? There are already old school skill capes and RuneScape 3 skill capes in the game. A little bit iffy about tying the Infernal cape to the marketplace, but if it stays as a permanent shop item and not a monthly FOMO rotating thing, then I can live with it. Mod Anvil confirms that the plan is to keep these achievement skins permanently in the marketplace. I wish there was a plan to make these reasonably affordable. That is very true, to be honest. Prices are mad in my opinion. Cosmetics on RuneScape cost way too much. I keep seeing outfits for like 18 euros. What the f is that? Could go on Steam and buy multiple games for that. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and as someone that wasn't a fan of the game's previous approach to monetization, I will be buying these. This approach seems a whole lot better in terms of cosmetics than Treasure Hunter loot boxes was. I don't hate this, it's a new cosmetic I'm keeping with Identity of RuneScape as well. Much better than those wacky outfits. A little bit disappointed though when I could consider that these alternatives could have instead been obtained in-game as part of a boss challenge. Like I said earlier, they were never going to realistically do that. I mean, there's nothing stopping them from creating future achievement-based cosmetic items purely through gameplay, but I don't think Zuk was ever going to get that because it's a relatively old boss. Infernal Completionist Cape when? Could we have the purchased cosmetics apply to the Jagex account instead of just the character? That would be really nice. Team really outdid themselves with the Zuk cape improvements. These actually look sick. Overpriced slop to cover up the base version. Okay, this person says they really like the base version, so you know, some people really like the base version. There's nothing wrong with that. These look amazing and I hate them. I hate that cosmetic achievements are behind a paywall. These could have been from finishing Zuk combat achievements and collection log. They were never going to be from that. They could have been similar to Radiant Oathplate or Blorva, something for people to show off their skill. The hard mode Zuk cape is arguably already that level of cosmetic upgrade. I would love to see stats, to be honest, of how many people have done various combat things in RuneScape, because I don't feel like there are that many. It's just when new combat achievement items get added to the game, like for example the combat auras, you never see anyone using them. So it doesn't feel like that many people are actually unlocking these items. Hell, you don't even see that many people with the original hard mode Zuk cape. Small price to pay for a no treasure hunter. Yeah, I'm okay with this. It's just cosmetic is exactly how treasure hunter started off. No, it always had lamps experience. It actually had pay to win gear in it too. lucky equipment was added very fast to it. Had spirit shields, armadillo bandos. Treasure hunter has never only been cosmetic. People are saying that they should be unlocked through in-game achievements because they want them. I think that's what it is at the end of the day. They want them, and they hate that they want them because they're locked through microtransaction real life money. If they didn't like how they looked, people would not care whatsoever because they'd be like, yeah, this is stupid. I don't want this. I'm going to ignore the marketplace. I think it's fair, though, that people would like to see these kinds of things added through gameplay achievements. There definitely should be more items that are achievement locked that you can show off your different achievements in game rather than simply capes, because that's essentially all you've got at the moment. Most other things are tradable. I think there's also a thing though where there are so many cosmetics in RuneScape. Even if they were to add cosmetics that look all right as achievement items, people just wouldn't care, or so few people would have them that nobody would really recognize them as important. And you'd also then get a casual crowd of players who would be really pissed off that they can't get these really rare items because the combat in RuneScape 3 is an acquired taste, to say the least. There's also some complaints about the amount of rune coins you have to purchase to get some of these things, where you always have rune coins left over, and I agree with that. The amount of rune coins you have to spend to get certain things is really strange. Unsure if I like it or not. Part of me thinks it looks sweet, but also part of me is sad that it's a marketplace item. I'd also love to hear what you think about this new Zuk Cape skin and the idea of paid achievement skins being added to the marketplace as well. I'm sort of gonna give you a cop-out answer here and say that I'm on the fence about it. Like, I think the new capes look amazing. I think they did a fantastic job with the capes. I think they're too expensive for what they want for them. In terms of it being good or bad that they are from the marketplace, I'd say that realistically, the only way I was going to ever get the cape is probably from the marketplace, because RuneScape 3 high-level intense combat is kind of janky, and if I can't use Revolution to complete something, then it's more likely that I'm not going to ever complete it. Saying that, though, I do have the hard mode Zuk cape, and I did that with Revolution, so, you know, there is hope for me still, but I'd say that some of the hard mode combat achievements, like, for example, defeating Zuk in 10 minutes or something like that, those specifically are things that likely I will never be able to achieve with Revolution. So in that regard, I'm happy they're not from the combat achievements themselves. I personally think that RuneScape's combat achievements are far, far harder than old school's ones, and so it's not necessarily a fair comparison between the two. Now, if you have good enough gear on old school, you can brute force a lot of the speedrunning challenges. You can't do that as easily in RuneScape 3 because you need to have crazy optimized ability bars and use abilities in very specific orders. There's a lot more that goes into speed killing in RuneScape 3. You're borderline abusing weird mechanics in the game to get the speed kill times in a lot of situations. And a part of me thinks that Jagex knows this, and that there's not a massive amount of people that would even acquire these items, so they'd spend a lot of time on something that barely anyone is gonna get any enjoyment out of. Like I say, I would love to see numbers and stats on how many people have completed certain combat achievements, because I would love to be wrong about there being very few people who do those things, but I feel like I'm right about it, and that there's not a massive amount of players that are able to even do a lot of the hard combat achievement things. To wrap up this week's update though, let's have a look at some artwork. First, we've got Swizzy Owl. They have created their character overlooking from the Fort 4 and 3 into the wilderness. I think this is a really cool wallpaper. It really sets the tone of the fort. And also, we've got LA, who's made a comic of them making a tree in their house. Flop that sapling bag down into the ground, smack it with the hammer, bam, you've got yourself a tree. That's cute. In terms of the Grand Exchange and construction updates today, massive success. Everyone loves these changes to the Grand Exchange. 97% upvote. Love that player and house is getting so much needed love. We do need some new tweaks to the cauldron though. Ability to re-top up on the potion buff back to an hour before it runs out, especially for overloads, and add the ability to give weapon poison and anti-poison into the cauldrons. I was actually really surprised that weapon poison wasn't possible to add to the cauldrons, because that is also a timer potion. It's crazy how some people on RuneScape are smithing adamant armor and fighting blue dragons, and other people are playing the Wolf of Wall Street simulator. Movable rooms with furniture inside? That alone is worthy to be called a full update. The igneous kal-zuk is still invisible in your house. Oh good, I'm not the only one with this bug. Yeah, mine's also invisible in my house. I was certain that they were gonna fix that today because they updated the cape, but they did not. I don't think they updated any of the cape stand capes, to be honest. Jagex when? Jagex? Max cape with infernal graphics inside of it. Zuck max cape. You know, Zuck completionist cape, yeah, wink wink. Still unable to store and withdraw items from the player-owned house through the bank interface. That bug is a nasty one. They just can't seem to fix that. It was supposed to be in the game last week. New Grand Exchange update is amazing, no more third-party websites, Fire and Ice Zuck cape comparisons. That's actually really cool. Please, could we have the Throne of Fame in the house? Oh yeah. Please center the fairing. Oh, that hurts my OCD so bad. Classic cape can now be displayed on cape stands. If you got it, place it out. Show off your RuneScape Classic love. Please, can we get the Rhino cape into the marketplace? True, that one was something people liked back in the day. That brings me back. New Zuck cape matches my fit. It does. Looking good, man. Calling it a wrap here though, drop a like on the video, subscribe for more RuneScape content, and let me know what you think of this week's update. What was your favorite in the comments below? I'll catch you in another video.